We're already well into 2026, and if you're watching this video thinking, wow, this year is going by way too fast, I completely understand, and me too. But here's the thing, you still have plenty of time to completely change where you are by the end of this year. You don't need to become, a millionaire in the next few months, you don't need to start a massive company, you don't need to completely reinvent yourself. But if you spend the rest of 2026 intentionally improving yourself, you could be in a dramatically different position by January 1st. So if I wanted to get dangerously ahead by the end of 2026, these are the 5 things that I would focus on. And the best part? Most of them don't require much money at all. They require something much harder, which is consistency. Now, just a quick disclaimer, as usual, guys, I am not a financial advisor, so this is not financial advice. This is purely for educational purposes only. The first thing that I would do is master a valuable skill. And I don't mean become kind of okay at something. I mean actually genuinely get really, really good at something that people are willing to pay you for. And for me, that was graphic design. I started learning graphic design around the age of 15 years old, and one of the biggest advantages I had was that I didn't need to spend thousands of dollars learning it. I actually used YouTube. And honestly, that's one of the craziest things about the world we live in right now, and it's just there's an unbelievable amount of information that's available completely for free. If you want to learn graphic design, there are tutorials. If you want to learn video editing, coding, whatever it is, there's tutorials, right? You want to learn marketing, whatever it is, you can go to YouTube for these things. And obviously you have to be careful about who you're learning from because not everything online is good information. But if you find the right people and the right resources, you can pretty easily learn an incredible amount without spending much, if any, money. So pick one skill, not 10, right? Just pick one and spend the next several months getting really good at it. I always say pick something that you actually enjoy, which again for me was graphic design, and pick a valuable skill that can potentially increase your earning potential for the years to come. It can help you get a better job, it can help you get a raise, it can allow you to do freelance, right? It can be a side hustle for you, and maybe eventually it can become a business. And you don't need to monetize it immediately, and that's a mistake that a lot of people fall into. You need to learn it and become valuable first, and then the money can come afterward. Right? Everybody's looking on YouTube, best side hustles for 2026, and they expect to be making $1,000 in the first month. If you can do that, fantastic, congratulations to you, but the odds of that are so slim, which I know a lot of people don't want to hear, but it's the reality. The second thing I do is start investing. And if you're already investing, fantastic, but I'd focus on becoming more consistent with it. And I want to emphasize something. It does not matter how much you start with. If at this point in your life you can only invest $25 a week, start with $25, right? If it's $50 a month, start with $50. If you can invest $500 a month, great, whatever it is. The amount matters, but I think that the habit matters even more when you're just starting out. Because, you're not just putting money into an investment account. You're building that habit of paying yourself first when you get your paycheck. You're teaching yourself that every time you get paid, some of that money goes towards your future. And then, as your income increases, you can increase the amount you're investing. And that's really what I've done over the course of my career so far. I started investing when I got my first full-time job, and I've increased my contributions as my income has increased. And that's one of the biggest things that I would encourage someone in their 20s to do. Don't wait until you have a huge amount of money to start. That's a big misconception. People think, oh, it takes money to make money. And while yes, it's easier to make money if you have more money, typically in kind of like a compound investing format, don't wait until that time because you need to be able to, like I said, build that habit, build the basics, and time is so, so valuable, especially with compound investing. So start building the habit now because you can't go back and give your investments more time, right? Once that time has passed, it's gone. The money you invest today potentially has, decades to compound. So if you're not investing yet, start learning about it, right? Understand what you're investing in, understand what your risk tolerance is, learn about the accounts that are available to you in your country, and just get started. The third thing is something that has absolutely nothing to do with money, but it is so, so important, and that's take care of yourself. Your body is your temple, or something like that, however the quote goes. I don't know the exact saying, but you get the point. You can have the best investment strategy in the world, you can have the best business idea, you can have the highest paying job out of all the people you know, but if you constantly feel terrible, you're probably not going to perform at your best, right? Your health affects literally everything that you do. Your energy, focus, your mood, your productivity, your ability to work and even just think clearly. And that includes something that's incredibly basic, which is sleep, right? I think most people massively underestimate how important getting enough quality sleep is, right? So some people think it's cool. They're like, oh, I'm running on 3 hours of sleep last night. And it's like, If you weren't able to get the sleep, whatever, that's the case. Sometimes, I have a day where I only am able to sleep a couple hours and then I have to go to work, but it's not something that I'm trying to do to look cool, right? I'm trying to genuinely get as much sleep as I can. And as I get older, I realize how important it is because your body really does feel it as you start to get older. So, like I said, I think people massively underestimate how important getting, not even just regular sleep hours, but quality sleep is. If you're staying up until 2 or 3 in the morning, scrolling on your phone and then trying to be productive the next day, you're making everything harder for yourself. And I've, been a victim of that, doing that to myself in the past for sure, and even sometimes still to this day. So if you want to get ahead, start taking care of the machine that's actually doing all of the work, right? Your body is the machine. So exercise, eat decently well. Of course, yeah, you can have cheat meals here and there, right? Enjoy life, but try to treat your body better. Get enough sleep, take care of your mental health. That is a huge, huge thing. Spend time with people that you care about, give yourself time to recover after things. Because getting ahead isn't about working 18 hours a day and not sleeping. It's about actually being able to consistently perform at a high level without completely burning yourself out, right? Some people will work a crazy amount of hours for a certain amount of days in a row, and then they're just done. They burn out and they can do nothing for multiple days. You don't want to do that, right? Consistency is king, as they say. The fourth thing I do is limit my scrolling. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that watching TikToks, Instagram Reels, or YouTube Shorts is evil, right? I watch them too. There's nothing wrong with entertainment. The problem is when that entertainment turns into hours of your day disappearing, right? And I'm sure we've all done it. If you're watching this video, I'm sure you've done it too, right? You're watching some form of entertainment. Again, a lot of times it is Reels or something like that. And then you realize an hour's gone by and you're like, what did I just do that hour? I just spent that scrolling, right? So think about how much time you actually spend. Maybe it's 30 minutes, maybe it's an hour, maybe it's 2 or 3 hours. Now, imagine what would happen if you took that time, or even half of that time, and put it towards doing something productive. Let's say you're spending 2 hours a day scrolling. That's 14 hours a week, right? That's more than 700 hours a year, which is crazy to think about. That's a ridiculous amount of time. Now, imagine taking even a fraction of that and putting it towards, like we talked about earlier in the video, building a valuable skill, right? Or working on a business, exercising, reading, learning about investing, right? Or working toward a promotion, whatever it is, right? And I'm not saying you have to delete every social media app, right? You don't have to become some productivity machine that's like a robot who never watches YouTube. I just think that you need to become conscious of how much time you're actually spending doing it, right? Your attention, no matter who you are, your attention is valuable, right? And companies are literally competing for it to try to get your attention. So don't give all of it away to them for free. That's all I'm saying. And the fifth thing is honestly probably the most important, and that's just to dig in, right? We're already well into 2026. So if there's something you've been saying you're going to do this year, or you had a New Year's resolution, now's the time to actually do it, right? You want to start a business, dig in. You want to get a raise, you want to get promoted, dig in. You want to start a side hustle, you want to get in better shape, learn a new skill, whatever it is, dig in. I think one of the biggest problems that people have isn't necessarily a lack of information, it's actually just a lack of execution, right? Most of us know, at least vastly, what we should probably be doing, right? We just don't actually do it consistently. And again, as I said earlier in the video, you don't need to completely transform your life tomorrow. That's not going to happen, right? You just need to stop waiting. If you have a goal, something that you want to achieve, break it down, right? Figure out what you need to do and then start actually doing those little things, right? And then keep doing it when you're not motivated. That's another big thing too, right? Motivation is fantastic to have, right? It's so much easier when you're motivated to do something to actually do it. But you need to have discipline because that discipline is what keeps you moving when you don't have the motivation. Now, let's say, imagine you actually did all 5 of these things for the rest of the year, for the rest of 2026. You spent several hours every week developing a valuable skill, you were investing consistently, you took your physical and your mental health seriously, you cut your scrolling down to be more productive, and you spent the remaining months of the year actually working toward whatever goal matters most to you. It's going to differ for everyone. You might not become a completely different person overnight, as we talked about, right? That's not going to be the case. But think about where you'd be by December, right? Around Christmas time, around New Year's. You'd have more skills, more knowledge, likely more money invested. You'd have better habits, your health would be better, you'd be wasting less time and potentially have a higher income. So if you want to get dangerously ahead by the end of 2026, here's what I'd focus on to recap. Number 1, master a valuable skill. Number 2, start investing if you haven't already. Number 3, take care of your physical and mental health. Number 4, limit your scrolling. And number 5, dig in. You don't need to do everything. You don't need to completely change your life, but you do need to start, right? Because we're already well into the year and you have a choice at this point. You can look back when it's December and say, oh, another year went by. Or you can look back and say, that was the year I finally actually started taking my future seriously, right? I locked in. I decided to dig in. So don't worry about whether you can change your entire life in the next few months. Just focus on becoming significantly better than you were when the year started, or than you were when this video started, right? You can decide now, listening to this video, okay, I'm going to do those things, and you actually stay consistent with them. Because if you do that every year, eventually you're going to look back and realize just how far you've actually come, right? You've still got time. Now's the time to dig in. So hopefully you guys were able to take something from that video. If you enjoy content like this, please feel free to subscribe. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.